In this video, I want to show you one of the most fundamental principles in geography and spatial analysis. It's called Tobler's first law of geography, which states everything is related to everything else, but near things are more related than distant things. This might sound obvious, but it's the foundation for everything from weather forecasting to disease tracking to real estate pricing. What we're seeing here is a spatial data set with 15 measurement points. Each point represents a location where we've collected some values, such as temperature, income levels, pollution, population density, or any geographic variable. Notice the color coding. Red points indicate high values, blue points show low values, and we have gradients in between. Also observe the pattern in which similar colors tend to cluster together. In the top left corner, we have a cluster of red and orange points, all high values. In the bottom right, we have a cluster of blue points, all low values. And in the middle area, we have some transitional medium values. This isn't random. This is Tobler's law in action. Spatially close locations tend to have similar characteristics. So let me show you this more precisely. I'm clicking on this point here in our high value cluster. Its value is 85. Now watch what happens. The visualization draws connection lines to all the points, but notice two critical things. First, the thickness and brightness of these lines tell us about similarity. The thickest, brightest lines connect to nearby points with similar values. Second, look at the analysis panel that appears below. It shows us the 5 nearest neighbors. The closest point has a value of 82, which is a difference of only 3. The second closest is 88, also a difference of just 3. And even the 5th nearest neighbor has a similar value. This is Tobler's law. These geographically close points are not just physically near, they're also similar in their measured values. Now let's click on a point from the opposite cluster, this blue one in the bottom right with a value of 22. Again, look at those nearest neighbors. All 5 closest points have values between 22 and 28. They're all geographically close and have similar low values. But here's the key insight. Notice how the lines connecting to that red cluster up in the top left are very faint and thin. And that's because those points are both geographically distant and have very different values. They differ by 60 or more points. The spatial distance corresponds to the difference in values. Near things are more related than distant things. So let me show you one more, a transitional point in the middle with a value of 55. The point's nearest neighbors show moderate values, ranging from the low 40s to mid 60s. It's not in a tight cluster, but even here you can see that its closest neighbors are more similar to it than the extreme values at the edges. So even in transition zones, geographic proximity predicts similarity. So why does all this matter? Tobler's first law is the foundation for weather forecasting. For instance, temperature in Baltimore is more similar to DC than in Miami. Also, in real estate, housing prices on one block predict prices on neighboring blocks. In public health, disease rates cluster geographically. In environmental science, pollution levels spread spatially. And in social science, demographics, voting patterns, and economic indicators show spatial patterns. And understanding this law allows us to make predictions, fill in missing data, and design better sampling strategies.